Battle Chasers is one of my favorite games from 2017. I found that its commitment to delivering a traditional JRPG experience is awesome. The gameplay will be familiar to anyone who grew up with traditional JRPGs. The turn-based combat is great. You get a nice selection of characters to choose from, and there's loads to earn. Dungeons provide their own sense of variety and replay by allowing you to go back through them at higher difficulties. And then the rooms will change their order, so this provides just enough variety so it never gets boring. Plus, the rewards you net through them are great to earn. While the story isn't the best, the characters are interesting and the art style is beautiful, with Jesper Kyd providing music, and it is very appreciated here. There's a lot of content with New Game Plus as an option, and I hope we see a sequel, as I really love what they started here. While Dust has been out for a while, and you can find it on the Switch now, if you're looking for a Metroidvania-like experience, then you can't go wrong with this one. Dust comes with quality content, with fun combat, and vibrant visuals that bring personality and a sense of place to the experience. The addictive nature does come from being able to earn experience points and improve your stats. Fighting and jumping both feel good. Fans that are looking forward to Bloodstained this fall and want to kind of get that fix a little bit now before it comes out, I would highly suggest you check this one out. MotherGunShip goes for being more of a shooter that keeps you on your toes and always has you within the action, instead of having you hide in one spot. You're encouraged to continually move around about the areas, shooting everything you see. A useful double jump really does help you kind of move about the environment in a very easy manner. In many cases, you'll enter a room and have a lot of bullets coming your way. In a way, the presentation of the combat reminds me of Serious Sam, but done in a much more smaller and confined environment. The smaller environments allows for confined chaos. You'll always feel like your back is up against the wall while you're trying to find the best method to push forward. Completing missions and defeating enemies will result in currency that can be used to upgrade yourself, and here is something that I like about MotherGunShip, is that it does a decent job at giving you some rewards even upon failure, but you'll always feel like you have something that you're working towards. I highly prefer when roguelike games allow for progression in the long term, as it always feels like your time was well spent. Here, you'll earn new gun parts for your weapons, and these can be really cool because this is its standout feature, being able to craft different types of guns and mixing around different parts. Many missions will allow you to only use specific guns, or only let you bring in a small number of parts. There is something satisfying about finding new parts within the levels and then upgrading your guns to be able to take everyone out. But I would have really liked some type of horde mode where it could have been a great way to test out some new build that you have for your gun against an onslaught of never-ending enemies. The trade-off with building your own gun goes with power and then how many shots you have, because it really turns into a balancing act that if you want something really powerful, you're only going to get a few shots with it. But if you want something that does a decent amount of damage, you'll be able to have more ammunition for it. So you need to figure out what you want and for that mission. It is fun to attach a rifle that has a rocket launcher attachment, so you kind of have these multi-purpose guns. The sense of humor attempts to give some levity, and it mostly works as it helps to create this fun atmosphere. The game can be played in online co-op, but sadly I attempted to play with my friends several times, but we were never able to connect with each other, and we tried different internet connections with no success. If you can get co-op working, I can imagine this being really fun with a friend, though right now I think it needs to be patched. Let me know if you experience the same thing. Overall, this is a fun time, and I would recommend checking out MotherGunShip on a sale. This is an extremely quick game where you play as a knight trying to pursue a girl who you scared off by farting next to her. Each of the levels consists of attacking enemies and jumping. The attacking is fine, and so is the jumping. It can feel slightly loose at times, but for the most part it's fine. There's boss fights in the game too, and the game will probably take you about 30 minutes to complete. Overall, it's a decent time waster, but it isn't anything special. I will say right out of the gate that this was not my cup of tea, but I really did enjoy the visuals. This is a flying style racing game where you can fly throughout the map and attach yourself to surfaces, which gives you a nice speed boost. When this is working, I found the sense of speed rather enjoyable, and I really enjoyed the nod to Tron with the light wave flying out of the back of your ship. In terms of the controls and the racing itself, I couldn't really get a handle on it, and I'll fully admit that maybe that wasn't the game's fault, but rather my lack of skill. You'll have a variety of challenges to complete, and there are co-op options. I do like that there is this sort of exploration mode, which can be rather enjoyable, relaxing, and going and grabbing all the collectibles. This is a different type of racer, and while it isn't my cup of tea, if it does pique your interest, then I'd say go check it out. Sword of the Guardian is a beat-em-up game that is heavily inspired by the older greats. The action is fun here, and I think beat-em-up fans are gonna like this. You have 3 characters to choose from. You have a swordsman, a monk, and a dwarf. The bulk of the gameplay will be side-scrolling action. You have a few attacks that you can do to switch things up. What I did like is that you could jump into the air and then attack the ground, and then the enemies will go flying and into the air, and then you can juggle them for a bit. If you get hit while you're in the air, you can recover and get right back into the action. As you attack enemies, you'll charge a super bar that you can use to launch a character's specific super attack. As you defeat enemies, they will drop sidearms and throwable items that you can use against their fellow soldiers. You'll get items like daggers, bombs, and axes. The daggers are quick and won't do a lot to impact their enemy, but the axes themselves will cause people to go flying backwards, giving you some breathing room. You'll always find some type of spells too that are fun to launch out, especially this whirlwind type spell. Since this is a beat 'em up, I would have loved if food was your main source to heal, but in here they just use a health potion. It's no big deal, but I really love the idea of just wolfing down a big roasted chicken during a fight. Levels end with a boss fight, and they can be pretty tough, especially in the later stages. The best part about the game is that you can play the entire thing in 3-player local co-op. Overall, this is a fun time. Don't let the visuals fool you, this is a fun beat 'em up. I think this is cool and kind of impressive that one individual did make this game. It's fun for beat 'em up fans, and I'd suggest you check it out. I enjoy tower defense games. I like when developers try to shake up the genre by adding different factors to consider. For Xmorph, it is both a twin-stick shooter and a tower defense game. The game has received a few updates from its initial release, and it only has improved. While in your attack mode, it plays like any other twin-stick shooter as you try to take on the human forces. The action is fun, and what really makes all this stand out are the graphics. The level of detail and destruction is impressive for an indie title and very enjoyable. Pieces of vehicles and buildings break apart when you hit them. It is always satisfying to take down a building and watch it fall. When you're not attacking enemy forces, you can enter into your build phase. When in this form, you are cloaked and cannot be attacked by enemies, and this is where you can use your energy to build towers. The game shows you the path of where the enemies will attack you from, and you can plan appropriately. With this in mind, you can block off certain routes so that you can then attempt to pigeonhole the enemies into one path. Each wave will change up where they are coming from to attack you, so you'll need to change up the placement of your towers. You'll find that you'll be doing a lot of micromanaging as a result of having the ability to attack and then build. This is why I'm glad the game features local co-op. The game almost seems built around co-op in mind, as both of you can take on different responsibilities and coordinate who will cover which part of the map. I found co-op to be much more enjoyable, as communicating with my partner and being successful on missions was fun. The game features a main campaign and a side campaign that they added as DLC, along with a fun survival-like horde mode. If you like the idea of having a twin-stick shooter tower defense hybrid with co-op, I would recommend this. This reminds me of the old Paperboy game. Overall, this really wasn't my cup of tea, but the parts that I really did enjoy are all the references that the game throws at you. Your character looks like Marty McFly from Back to the Future, and I even saw references from Doctor Who and Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I would only recommend giving this a try just for the references. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, check out some of my other ones. If you'd like to help support the channel, check out my Patreon links at the end of this video and the description down below. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.